Today I'm making a video showing you how to replace the drive belt and drive belt tensioner on a Volkswagen with a 2-liter TSI engine. I'm doing it on a EOS here, but it's the same job as a GTI or a Jetta or a Passat. They're all kind of the same. So if your engine's facing this way, it's got 2-liter TSI, this is how you're going to do the job. So not much of this is really done from the top. What you're going to want to do is lift the car up, and you're going to remove your wheel well liner and your belly pan. So put this up in the air. If you're doing this at home, you can do it with jack stands. It's going to be a little bit of a fight, but it's doable. You're gonna need to just remove the front part of the wheel well liner. So this just this front section here, they're all T20 fasteners. So you just remove the T20 fasteners for this and get it up underneath. And this has a big steel belly pan. Normally these just have the little plastic ones, and on every other model basically you're just going to need that same T20 to just remove the front section of the belly pan. This one I'm going to need some 13mm socket, and then the rest is T20, and then these rears are the same. So I'm going to remove this belly pan and pull that front section of the wheel liner off. Alright, now with everything off of all the covers off the engine, you can see the front of it pretty well. You're just going to need a 17mm socket, and you're going to turn this clockwise like this, and then put a pin in where that hole is. Right after it's all the way turned, you're going to use your other hand to take a pin and put it right here. If you don't have a pin that fits that nicely, you can. Then the new one comes with a pin. It's in the position where it's loaded, so you can switch from one to the other. You can just put it in the vise and then turn that one and grab the pin out and use it for the old one. But you're gonna need to do that. So have the tensioner back, put the pin in, and then the drive belt will just come right off, no problem. And then I'll show you what to do next. All right, now with the drive belt off and the tensioner back, I'm gonna show you the problem with this job. The tensioner is right here. Tim Hortons cup. Tensioner is right here, and it's really long. So this tensioner, you can't pull it out with the engine in place. It'll slam up against the frame rail here. So there's not enough clearance to actually remove that without dropping the engine down a little bit. You can see the way this tensioner is secured is from the back. Just one little bolt back here. Comes with a new one on the tensioner. You unscrew this, and this is what you use. But it goes through this whole bracket that supports the alternator and the compressor. So you have to get around to the back of the engine here, kind of just straight up here, and you can see this little harness. This harness right here attaches to a bracket that kind of goes in front of that bolt. So I like to just get a pry bar and stick it up there like this, and just pry it off of it. It slides off. It's usually not too bad to get it up out of the way, and then see if you can get the harness behind something so it stays. Sometimes you can't, and you just have to deal with that. But it's pretty high up there. Here's the bolt right here. Now you can kind of see it. My light's too bright, I'm sorry. Maybe if I do that. Yeah, there it is. That bolt with the big washer, that's the bolt you're gonna have to take off there. It's a 5mm Allen. That's pretty high up there. So what I like to use is a long extension, and then I'm sorry, I think it's a 6mm Allen. A long extension, a universal socket, a swivel, and then put that on the end there. And with this, you can, right from the bottom, you can get up there and just get to it like that. That's almost your only chance at it with everything in place. They're usually not too tight, so you can get this thing out of there altogether, and then just pull it down. Sorry, I guess I was right initially. It's a 5mm. So this should all be edited out, but I'm not going to do that. So. So this is it. You get to it right here. You have to do this whenever you're doing a timing chain job. So I've done so many of these, you would think I would know by now, but that's a different problem. So once you get that loose, you can just unscrew it all together, grab it out of there, don't lose it, and then I'll show you what to do next. Alright, next step is you have to bring the engine down a little bit after you get that bolt out of the tensioner. So if you're doing this at home, you can probably do it with a floor jack. You know, if you're doing this, you know, underneath the car with a creeper or something. But I'm going to use this support bar across the top. Just hook it onto the just the front lifting hook, and remove these two bolts here. These 18mm. You get 18mm socket for these bolts, and pull both of those off, and then start lowering the engine down. The engine really doesn't need to come down much, so there's not much you have to disconnect to get this out. This has to maybe an inch and a half, and then you can get a pry bar in there, and you can do this from the bottom too. It's actually a little bit easier. I'm just doing it up here because I am. And you can just pry this away from the front of the motor, and then it pops right out of there. It's not too difficult. Alright. Now it's coming at the front, and then you just rotate it around and find the right spot, and you can see I still need to come down another 1/4 inch maybe. You can see it's hitting the frame right there, so just bring it down a little bit more, and then I'll slide that right out of there. On this one, the pulley itself was perfectly fine. The bearing is good in the pulley, but the actual tensioner mechanism was really stiff and notchy. When I went to pull it back, you could feel it was not right. So it was the belt, when under load, it would make crazy noises and jump around and squeak and do all kinds of bad stuff. So when you're putting the new one back in, this is something you have to make sure of. You have to make sure this little piece of plastic stays in its right spot here. These fall out all the time. Just make sure this is on there correctly, which is this way. You can't really install this backwards anyways. It'll hit the bracket, or it'll hit the part of the tensioner. So make sure that's on, and then kind of reverse procedure, just slide it back in and tighten up that bolt in the back, try to push that harness clip back into place, and you know, lift the engine back up, and that's it. Make sure you remember to tighten these things back up to spec. I'll look up the spec. I can't remember offhand, and then I'll post it in the description. But yeah, thanks. I hope this helps.